Hello students, welcome to our e-learning class. This is Zakir from Springdale Children's School, Haal-E-Kota. We learned in our previous class about auxiliaries. Now today we will learn about modals. So let's start our chapter number 2, Auxiliaries and Modals, part 2. In this chapter we will learn why, when and how to use modals. Let's see the main modal verbs. They are can, could, may, might, must, shall, will, should, ought to, and would. Here are some main characteristics of modal verbs. So let's see what they are. A special type of auxiliary verbs. They alter or complete the meaning of the main verb. They express ideas such as capacity, possibility, obligation, permission, prohibition, probability, supposition, request, and desire. They can also indicate the level of formality in the conversation. They do not take s or es for the third person singular. Now let's see the use of can. Can is one of the most commonly used modals in English. It can express ideas such as capacity, permission, or request. Now let's try to understand through some examples. She can speak French. He can come in now. Can you lend me your pen, please? In sentence number 1, she has a capacity to speak French. In sentence number 2, the permission is given. And in sentence number 3, there is a request to lend a pen. Now let's see the use of could. Could expresses possibility, past ability, as well as suggestions and request. There are some examples related to could. Let's see the examples. Extreme rain could cause the river to flood the city. In this sentence, there is a possibility. John could run very fast when he was younger. Here in this, we can see the past ability of John. Here we can see some more examples related to suggestion and request. In example number 1, we could go to an ice cream parlor or stay home and watch a movie. Here is a suggestion to go an ice cream parlor or stay home and watch a movie. Now in another sentence, could I use your cell phone for a moment? Here is a request to use a cell phone. Now let's see the use of may. It is most commonly used to express possibility. It can also be used to give or ask for permission. Now let's try to understand through some examples. There are some examples of may. First, Maria may be at school or at home. It shows the possibility. Now in number 2, may he leave the room with me. Now here asking for permission. Then number 3, yes, he may leave the room with you. Here is giving permission. Might. It is more commonly used to indicate possibility. However, it can also be used to make suggestions or request. This is a rare use though. Now let's see the examples. Example number 1, your backpack might be under the desk. Here is a possibility in this sentence. In sentence number 2, we see a suggestion, that is, you might go to the boardroom during your visit. Here is a suggestion. Now in the 3rd, might I open the door? Here is a request. In British Standard, Now let's see the use of must. It can be used to talk about certainty, that is, something you are almost sure is true. Moreover, it can be used to talk about obligation, prohibition, necessity, or strong recommendation. Now, there are some examples of must. In number 1, she must be sick. She never gets late to school. There is a probability to sickness. In number 2, the student must pass an entrance examination to study at this school. There is necessity to pass the entrance exam. See the use of shall. It indicates a future action. It is more commonly used with the first person singular and plural, that is, I and we, often found in suggestions, promises, or predestinations. There are some examples of shall. Let's see. Shall we set the table? Here is a suggestion to set the table. I shall never leave you aside. Here is a promise in this sentence. And now in the last, she shall become our next queen. It is a predestination. Now let's see the use of will. It is more commonly used to talk about future situations. Nonetheless, it can also be used to talk about the present when we want to make a request. It is also used in situations in which we make instant decisions. Here are some examples of will. Let's try to understand them. I will call you later. Here is a future function or future action. Now in number 2, will you close the window please? It is a request to close the window. Now in the last, I loved that t-shirt. I'll take it. It is an instant decision. Now let's see the use of would. It is more commonly used to create conditional verbs tenses. In addition, it can be used to make offers, requests, and talk about past habits. Here are some examples of would. Let's see. If I were you, I would not do that again. Here is second conditional. Would you like some cake? Here is an offer in this sentence. Here are some other examples. Number 1. Would you turn down the volume please? Here is a request to turn down the volume. Now in the last, we would swim in the dam for hours when we were kids. Here is the past habit. Now let's see the use of should. This modal is more commonly used to give recommendations or advices. It can also be used to talk about obligation as well as expectation. Now let's try to understand the use of should through these examples. Number 1. When you have many classes, you should take a bottle of water with you. Here is a recommendation. Now in number 2, you should focus more on your assignments. Here is an advice in this sentence. Let's see another examples of should. Here are more examples of should. Let's try to understand them. Number 1, I should be at work before 7 p.m. Here is an obligation. And the last, at this moment, they should already be in New York. It is an expectation in this sentence. Now let's see the use of ought to. It is used to advise or make recommendations. It can also express assumption, expectation, or strong probability when the context implies that something is deserved. Let's try to understand the use of ought to through these examples. In example number 1, she ought to stop eating red meat. Here is a recommendation to stop eating red meat. In number 2 example, Sam ought to get a promotion. Here is expectation because he deserves it. So dear student, it was the explanation of chapter number 2, auxiliaries and modal verbs. We will meet in our next e-learning class. Till then, goodbye.